Hey guys, it is Monday the 15th of February. I think I've got a lot to go over on these ones, or on this one. First, we don't have a new breakfast person yet, which I'm sure most of you had noticed. Between A Shift, myself, and Evelyn, we're getting those covered as best as we can. It was kind of messy this weekend, but thankfully we didn't really get complaints, so hopefully it stays that way. I do hope to have at least one interview scheduled by the end of the week. I am talking with one girl, so hopefully it works out. A couple other things that are coming up. We are having some issues with punch in and punch out times, and not just the time clock not working. The biggest thing, and the red flag that jumps up, is that anytime somebody has overtime over 8 hours on a shift, which I understand is not technically overtime, but most of the time it ends up being overtime, that is a huge red flag. Every time I submit payroll and there are those quarter hours and whatnot, I definitely get asked what's going on with this person by Todd. I understand to a certain extent that this happens, and what causes this to happen are those of you who are consistently showing up late for your shift. I'm usually pretty understanding when folks are arriving, up to like 3-4 minutes late for a shift. Even the time clock system will give you a leeway that if you're within 3 minutes of your shift, it counts you as quote unquote being on time. It really isn't on time, you're still late, because you know that you have that interchange with that other shift, and if you aren't making time for that, or you are causing that other person to be late leaving their shift, one, you're causing overtime, which is really a bigger frown on the person that's coming in late than it is the person that has to stay a few minutes after. However, so one, if you're the person that's arriving late, you got to stop. There's quite a few of you right now, and it's getting a little bit out of control. I realize the weather just got weird, but now we know that this is a season where we might need to leave 10 minutes earlier than we used to leave. I will get to the point of doing write-ups, because it is getting to the point where the other folks are unable to leave on time, and now we're having a situation of overtime more than we used to have. Okay, so if you're the person that's arriving late, you got to fix that. If you are the person that is staying after, here are the rules. And they are going to get strict now, because I know we've talked about it before, so I've got to enforce this. We do not approve overtime unless there is an emergency type situation or there is no other option. So this doesn't mean that because I feel like I needed to talk to this person for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, that I am approved for overtime. This means there is nobody here to work and I'm approved for overtime. Our occupancy is not busy enough that one person cannot handle it on their own. So even if it is busy when that person arrives, you need to, you might need to put a fire under them and say, hey, it's past my time, I got to get out of here. Especially if they're late. That's on them. That is not on you. But as far as shift interchanges, they really only need to be 2 or 3 minutes. There is not enough going on these days that require a 10-minute conversation. Ideally, you guys are counting the drawer, and while the person's counting the drawer, you get everything out that needs to be said. Most days, at least when I see the A shift to B shift interchange, there's almost nothing to pass along. So the rule is going to be that if that other person is on time, I will give you 5 minutes after they punch in. And if you are here past 5 minutes after they've punched in, that's on the person creating the overtime now. And their overtime is not approved. So what that means is your overtime is not approved. You cannot stay there. I will not pay you for overtime that is not approved. If a situation arises that, that person hasn't arrived and you're now past your 7-minute mark and that person hasn't arrived, or there is some just bizarre situation that is out of the ordinary and you have to stay past your scheduled time, you should be letting me know. And honestly, you should be letting me know as it happens. Because those situations are so rare, Um, it really should be a situation where I should know what's going on that's causing overtime, because it's got to be a big deal if it's causing overtime. Because everybody here can pretty much handle the stuff that's going on. So we're gonna put a little firmness on that one. So please pay attention. The way that the time clock works is you should not be clocking in before the 57 minutes before the hour you were scheduled for. If you're scheduled for 6, that's 5:57. If you're scheduled for 2, that's 1:57. If you're scheduled for 10, 9:57. That is going to count as 10 p.m. So between the 57 and the 03 counts as the hour that you're scheduled for. The big one is more on the leaving end of it. If you are punching out after 7 minutes past the hour, which really no one should be here 7 minutes past the hour. That's just not the way the hotel schedule works. If you punch out after 7 minutes past the hour, then you are creating overtime. In theory, if you're a 40-hour person. If you're not a 40-hour person, I'm less likely to notice it. However, I do still expect that that you guys are staying within that time range. Because even so, I do a weekly report and we look at how many hours per day we're paying for the front desk. It should be 24, straight 24 hours. That's it. That's 8 hours per shift. Easy, simple. I will tell you, maybe 5 days a week, there's at least a quarter, if not 50, or at least a quarter of an hour, if not a half an hour, that really is unnecessary. I know it seems petty, but when it's every single week and it's, honestly, it's the same folks over and over, it indicates that we're not sticking to the schedule and we're not sticking to the rules. So that's that. And I wouldn't be making such a big stink out of it if it wasn't also brought up to me by Todd. So this isn't just me being petty. Couple other things. Losing my train of thought. Every shift needs to be checking for cleanliness in the hotel, similar to the house person's duties. Every single shift. This hasn't changed since the beginning of hotel front desk clerks. You are responsible for what the guest sees. For the customer service side of things, that really is the front desk niche. You should have eyes, on the pool area, the fitness center, the laundry room, the bathrooms, and really should be doing at least a once-over clean. And by clean, I mean mostly sanitizing, or if you happen to look in the toilet and it looks gross, you really should make it look nicer. It really does not take a long time to just walk through and do these sort of things. So it is expected that at any point in time, our bathrooms are not going to be trashed out unless it just occurred. Trash should never be overflowing and in the bathrooms. Things like water all over the place or whatever. This weekend, I know our guests were a little dirtier. We certainly had some messes that I've never seen here before. But those are the times when we all have to kind of step up and do a little bit more than we normally do. I know when I was here, I was working with Brianna on Sunday morning, and she had that mop going the entire shift. She had the mop going the entire shift. She was helping me with breakfast. Before I'd gotten there, she had checked out the bathrooms. So this is really what it should look like. It's important that we, on the desk side of things, the customer service side of things, are really trying to make the place look as good as it possibly can for our guests, especially when we spend so much time just standing at the desk or sitting behind the desk. There's a lot of time on our hands, so I do expect that. I don't know how long it's going to be until we have a full-time house person again. We are kind of sharing the load between front desk and then the days that Avalyn is on breakfast. I usually give her a couple extra duties outside of the breakfast area to help keep, that flow going. I know Letty still has a few days a week where she is the house person, And then also on the other days, she also helps do a once over and make sure things are clean too. So really, between all of us, it should be pretty simple to keep up on that work that a house person would typically do. I do hope to find somebody for that position, within a month or two. However, right now it's really important to get the breakfast hours covered and then also to get a maintenance person on. So stay tuned for that. If I happen to come across, or somebody who just wants, 4 hours a day, something like that, send them my way. Next up is I knew there was a lot more to mention than that, and I have forgotten. So I'm going to go ahead and end this, and when my memory comes back and I've got the other things I wanted to bring up, I'll do a separate video, so we'll keep them short. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.